The candles in the great hall of the Blackthorn pack burned low, and still Seraphina Vale did not come. Alpha King Damian Cross stood at the front of the hall in his ceremonial coat, his hands clasped behind his back, his face calm in the way that only years of leadership could teach a man to fake. Around him, hundreds of wolves from two powerful packs waited in silence. The mating ceremony was supposed to begin an hour ago. Everyone could feel that something was wrong. Finally, an elder hurried up the aisle, her face pale, a folded piece of paper trembling in her hand. "Alpha," she said quietly, though everyone in the hall heard it anyway, "she is gone." Damian took the note. He read it once, twice, and then a third time, as if the words might change if he looked at them long enough. Seraphina had not been taken. She had run. She wrote that she loved another wolf, one from a rival pack, and that she could not stand at the altar and lie to an entire nation of wolves about a bond that had never truly formed between her and Damian. Whispers spread through the hall like fire through dry grass. Damian felt his wolf stir beneath his skin, furious and humiliated, clawing to get out. He raised a hand for silence, and the hall obeyed, but the damage was already done. The Alpha King had been left standing alone. That night, Damian could not sit still in his own castle. His wolf paced inside him, agitated, and no amount of reasoning could calm it. The elders wanted a solution by morning. They spoke of choosing another noble bride quickly, before the rival packs saw weakness in the Blackthorn pack. Damian said nothing. He simply turned and walked out into the dark, shedding his coat as he went, letting his wolf take over so he would not have to think anymore. He ran for miles through the border woods, the cold air sharp in his lungs, his paws silent on the fallen leaves. He ran until his mind emptied of council meetings and broken engagements, and Seraphina's careful, apologetic handwriting. And then, without warning, a scent stopped him cold. It was faint at first, carried on the wind from somewhere near the old servants' quarters at the edge of Packland. Something warm, something like sun-dried linen and wild honey. Damian's wolf, which moments ago had been consumed by rage, suddenly went very still. Every instinct in his body turned toward that scent like a compass needle finding north. He followed it before he even decided to. The scent led him to a small garden behind the servants' cottages, where a young woman knelt in the dirt, pulling weeds by moonlight, because it was the only time she was given to tend her own small patch of vegetables. She wore a plain gray dress, her hair tied back with a bit of string, and she worked with the quiet efficiency of someone who had learned long ago not to expect help from anyone. Her name was Lyra Sinclair, though Damian did not know that yet. He only knew, standing at the edge of the trees in his wolf form, that his entire body had gone taut with recognition. His wolf let out a low sound, something between a whine and a growl, and took a step forward into the moonlight. Lyra looked up and froze. She scrambled backward, knocking over her basket of weeds, her heart pounding so hard she was sure the wolf could hear it. She knew exactly who this was. Everyone in the pack knew the Alpha King's wolf, black as coal with eyes the color of storm clouds. And she knew, with a cold drop in her stomach, that wolves did not wander this close to the servants' quarters by accident. "Please," she whispered, not sure what she was even asking for. "I haven't done anything wrong." The wolf did not attack. It simply sat down in front of her, watching her with an intensity that made her skin prickle, and then, slowly, it shifted. Fur became skin, paws became hands, and within moments, Damian Cross knelt in the garden dirt in human form, breathing hard, staring at her, as if she were the answer to a question he hadn't known he was asking. "You're the Alpha King," Lyra said, her voice barely above a breath. "Yes," he said, "and you are my mate." Lyra laughed, a short, disbelieving sound, because surely this was some kind of cruel joke. She was an Omega, the lowest rank in the pack, rejected by her own fated mate 5 years ago in front of the entire pack when he found a noble wolf he preferred instead. Since then, she had lived quietly, working in the kitchens and gardens, invisible to almost everyone, exactly the way she had trained herself to be. Nobody looked twice at a rejected Omega. Nobody wanted to. "That isn't funny," she said, standing and backing away. "Whatever this is, whoever put you up to it, I don't want any part of it." "No one put me up to anything," Damian said, rising to his feet as well. My wolf found you. It has never reacted like this to anyone, not even to the woman I was supposed to marry tonight. At the mention of the failed ceremony, understanding flickered across Lyra's face, followed quickly by suspicion. So your bride ran away, and now you're here, telling some Omega girl in the dirt that she's your mate. Do you expect me to believe that's a coincidence? I don't expect you to believe anything, Damien admitted. I don't fully believe it myself, but I know what I feel, and I have never felt anything like this. Lyra wrapped her arms around herself, an old habit from years of guarding against disappointment. I was rejected once already, by a mate my wolf chose, just as strongly as yours seems to have chosen me. I built my whole life around not needing anyone to want me. I don't have room in that life for a king who might change his mind the moment someone more suitable comes along. Her words landed harder than she meant them to, and Damien felt the truth in them like a blow. He had watched her flinch at the mere suggestion of hope. Someone had taught her, cruelly and thoroughly, that hope was dangerous. I won't ask you to trust me tonight, he said quietly, but I am not going to pretend I didn't find you. My wolf will not let me walk away, and honestly, neither will I. He left her there in the garden that night, but he did not stay away. Word spread through the pack within days, first as rumor, then as scandal. The Alpha King, humiliated by his runaway bride, had been seen near the servants' quarters, had spoken with the rejected Omega girl, had even walked beside her openly through the market. The council was furious. An alliance with the Veil Pack still hung in fragile balance, and the elders believed that any further embarrassment might push the two packs toward open conflict. An Omega, Damien, snapped Elder Rowan during a tense council meeting. A girl with no standing, no family influence, no political value whatsoever. This will look like you are punishing the Veil Pack out of spite, not choosing a Luna out of honor. I am not choosing her to spite anyone, Damien said evenly. I am choosing her, because my wolf recognized her as its true mate. That is not something I control, and it is not something I intend to fight. The elders were not the only obstacle. Lyra herself kept a careful distance, even as Damien found small ways to be near her, walking her home from the kitchens, bringing her books from his own library, simply sitting with her in silence when words felt unnecessary. She noticed the way his eyes softened when he looked at her, the way he remembered small details she mentioned only once, the patient way he never pushed her to promise anything she wasn't ready to give. Still, the fear did not leave her easily. What happens? She asked him one evening, as they sat together on a low wall, overlooking the training fields, when a real Luna candidate appears. Someone with a title? Someone the pack would actually accept? Then I will still choose you, Damien said simply. I already know what an arranged bond feels like. I have felt nothing for anyone the way I feel for you, not in months of formal courtship with Seraphina. I don't want a Luna the council approves of. I want the mate my wolf recognized in you. Lyra's throat tightened. Part of her wanted desperately to believe him, but 5 years of rejection had built walls inside her that did not come down with a few kind words, however sincere they sounded. The true test came 2 weeks later, when Seraphina returned. She arrived quietly, without fanfare, and requested a private audience with Damien. Word of it reached Lyra before Damien could explain it himself, and old fears rushed back in with painful familiarity. Of course, she thought. Of course the real bride would come back, and of course everyone would expect him to take her. Seraphina, it turned out, had discovered that her own chosen love had been forced by his pack to reject their bond, unwilling to risk conflict with the Blackthorn pack. Guilty and desperate to fix the damage her flight had caused, she offered to marry Damien after all, to restore the alliance and quiet the rumors that had spread since her disappearance. I know I hurt you, Seraphina said, standing in the same great hall where she had once left him waiting. Let me make it right. Let me finish what we started. The hall filled quickly, once word spread that Seraphina had returned. Elders, pack members, and curious onlookers gathered, certain they were about to witness the wedding finally take its proper course. Lyra stood near the back, hidden among the crowd, her heart breaking quietly as she watched Damien face the woman who was supposed to have been his bride. Damien looked at Seraphina for a long moment, and then he did something no one in the hall expected. He shook his head. Seraphina, he said, loud enough for the entire hall to hear, you were never wrong to leave. A bond built only on duty nearly cost this pack its future once already. I understand that now, more clearly than I did the night you left. I do not blame you for choosing love over obligation. I only wish I had done the same from the beginning. He turned, searching the crowd until his eyes found Lyra, and something in his expression made the entire hall go silent. My wolf chose its true mate weeks ago, he said, walking toward her. Not a noble wolf, not someone the council selected for political gain, but a woman this pack has overlooked for far too long. I will not make the same mistake twice. I choose Lyra Sinclair, and I choose her without apology, without hesitation, and without needing anyone's permission to do so. Lyra froze, as every eye in the hall turned toward her. For one terrifying moment, old instincts screamed at her to run, to disappear the way she always had, to avoid the pain of being seen, and then rejected all over again. But Damien crossed the distance between them, and took her hand gently, and when she looked into his eyes, she saw none of the doubt she had expected, only certainty. You don't have to decide anything tonight, he said quietly, only for her, but I needed everyone to know the truth. My wolf, and my heart, already made their choice. It was never Seraphina, it was always you. Tears gathered in Lyra's eyes, 5 years of rejection finally cracking beneath the weight of being chosen, openly and completely, by someone who refused to hide it. I'm afraid, she admitted softly. So am I, Damien said. But I would rather be afraid with you than certain with anyone else. The elders, watching the raw honesty of the moment, exchanged uneasy glances, but none of them spoke against him. Whatever political concerns they carried into that hall seemed to shrink beside the undeniable truth standing before them. Seraphina, watching quietly from the side, felt something in her chest loosen for the first time in weeks. She realized, watching Damien's certainty, that she had never truly loved him the way this Omega girl was loved now, and that leaving him at the altar had been the right choice after all, for both of them. In the months that followed, Lyra stepped into her role as Luna, slowly, carefully, still sometimes waiting for the moment it would all be taken away. But that moment never came. Damien stood beside her through every doubt, every whispered rumor, every skeptical glance from those who still struggled to accept an Omega as their Luna. Slowly, the pack began to see what Damien had seen from the very first night in that quiet garden. A woman of quiet strength, patient kindness, and a heart big enough to forgive a world that had given her so little. The Alpha King's bride had run away, and in her place, his wolf had found something far more lasting than a political alliance. It had found the one soul it was always meant to protect, and this time, nothing could tear them apart.